currency.
Like a couple Bitcoins.
Money,
Hold up on my Nakamoto.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the Blockchain Dynamic Show.
Hello, welcome one and all.
My name is Brandon Doge.
And I am Woody.
We're chilling here. It is Sunday, March 25.
That's right.
We're counting up these episodes. This one is number 87.
All right, 87.
Hot dog.
And as you saw with our super nice new YouTube visual disclaimer at the beginning,
Yep.
This content is presented for entertainment purposes only and in no way should be considered financial advice.
Yeah, so we're on YouTube now. We're just going to do the splash screen. So if you're expecting video, the joke's on you. We're just doing the splash screen.
So this is our first time using YouTube, which is fun to get to that point. Hopefully we're not going to run into too many technical difficulties and you can hear us okay. We're using the OBS Open Broadcaster software. I thought I'd mention that since it's open source and free, and it seems pretty great.
Yeah, definitely. We also are bringing back the giveaways this week, which is sweet. We got to give a shout out to Cryptobi1. That's at Cryptobi1, but the O is a 0 on Twitter.
Yep.
Check him out. He gave away a bunch of Arionum for us to give away, so that's badass.
Yeah, so we're going to start off with a nice 1,000 Arionum giveaway trivia question somewhere in the middle of the show.
This one's not too hard. I think people are going to have a harder time getting the wallet open and generating an address than getting the question right. Should be fun.
Start off with a pretty nice, easy question.
All right, so real quick, got to start it off. I wanted to mention we had a comment from somebody last week about our Arrow segment from Zcon Upstage, and he was like, hey guys, why would you promote Arrow? Basically, if the only thing that's different about it is that it's written in PHP, and PHP sucks. Well, that's a great question, Zcon Upstage. And basically, for me, essentially, when I'm looking at the value of a coin, I kind of think about it in terms of what is the coin adding to kind of like the global blockchain like repository, essentially. There's all these developers out there that are developing blockchains in all sorts of different arenas, and they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff with them. Some of it makes sense, and some of it has a future, some of it doesn't. But they're kind of adding all of this code to this huge open source repository that's kind of the collection of all of these different coins that are out there, right? And so when I look at something like Arrow, essentially they're doing something that nobody's done before. They're adding a new set of tools, a new set of code, a new set of open source software kind of to this huge library that's already out there, this catalog. And I think that's great. That's kind of the kind of stuff that interests me, I guess,
right,
as somebody who just likes the tech. Yeah,
that's a nice way for it to catch your attention. And I think another part of my answer to his question is that it doesn't necessarily have a healthy future. There's no reason to guarantee that based on the fact that it's an interesting coin.
Oh yeah, that's also true. We don't really know what's going to happen to it.
Right. And I think there's probably some good examples of coins that fall into that category that, didn't end up going anywhere. So.
But yeah, that basically sums it up. In general, we're just anything that's kind of adding anything interesting to the tech base of crypto is something that we're going to talk about. And yeah, you might be right that PHP is a really poor choice for a blockchain. And if that's true, then that's going to play out, in the future. People aren't going to adopt the technology, and it'll become pretty obvious.
Cool. So thanks for that comment.
Yes. All right. And as usual, we're now going to jump into the news.
Some of that news.
Love that news. A lot of Binance this week.
Yep. Binance doing some interesting stuff.
All right, what do we got from Binance?
The first thing is that they are moving to Malta from China.
Moving to Malta. What does it really mean for a company to like move these days? It's just like the office moving. Do they even have to move the people, or do they just like change the address?
Well, the government that you're liable to is going to change a bit. So as far as
right,
where your revenue's going and different things like that, and the laws that you have to follow to safely collect that revenue change.
Yep.
Part of this was at least was preceded by them getting some type of note from a Japanese regulatory agency about them serving Japanese customers. I don't think that the move was exactly directly response to that, but it certainly was at least well-timed to deal with that potential issue.
I think it's one of those things like they were working on it. They're wanting to do US dollar trading, and so they're looking for a way to set up US dollar trading, and I think that's a big part of what the move to Malta is about. And that's what all the articles say too, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not really my opinion, but so they want to set up this US dollar trading. And then they got this note from the Japanese regulators the other day. So I think they just kind of made this announcement to kind of change the direction of the dialogue and be like, all right, yeah, they're complaining about this, but we're already going in this other direction anyway.
Why? But I don't understand why the Japanese government would care about Binance specifically when Japanese people have been trading on all sorts of exchanges.
I didn't dive too deep into the note that they got, but I think it just has something to do with the regulations regarding having Japanese customers using the service.
So that's interesting that they're they're set on being one of the biggest crypto exchanges in the world at this point, and they seem to be taking every step they can to sort of solidify that, I would say. Yeah,
they're the biggest by volume. I'm not always super confident using volume as the best measurement, but there's no question that they have a really big percentage of the hype and stuff, especially with so many other of the exchanges not even really being accessible to people at this point.
Yep. And then one more little piece of interesting Binance news is they are running a Dexathon.
The Binance Dexathon. Now, this is sweet. We got a $1 million prize paid out in the Binance,
of course,
BNB token, of course. The idea here is that they are going to have a coding competition where somebody tries to build the best decentralized exchange, and they're going to give people $1 million. To be honest, I think that's a little bit of a low ball, I think, for a good DEX. I feel like a good DEX might be worth more than $1 million.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
If they were to, they have to develop what portion of it or the whole thing or something.
If you were like one of the really not large number of people on the whole planet who could potentially program a good decentralized exchange,
yeah,
would you sell it for $1 million?
Probably not. No.
No, I don't think I would either. But it'd be fun to see it. It'll be cool to see what they come up with, I guess.
Yeah. But, they probably aren't going to... my guess would be that they aren't trying to ask for a fully developed product for $1 million. Like maybe...
Oh, that's a good
something
point.
More along the lines of a really well-described...
Like a proof of concept, maybe, or something?
Yeah, and then maybe a prototype or something.
That's a good point. That's legit.
I don't know.
Either way, it's sweet. I'm glad that they're putting money into just research and development in general, and public contests and stuff. Always fun. Everybody likes
and also
that.
They're seeing that there's a spot in the market where their current exchange is already going to be having competition from decentralized exchanges.
Right.
And once again, they want to be part of all those trades.
There's people saying too that it has to do with the avoiding the regulations and stuff too. But I feel like in general, this move I think is more just staying competitive in crypto in general.
A little of both, probably.
All right, that's what's up. That's what's up with Binance. Next, we got a little Cryptopia news.
Yeah, this is really exciting. They are going to bring back those Litecoin base markets, I think, tomorrow. Monday, the 26th of March at 12 p.m. New Zealand time.
Cryptopia had Litecoin markets for a long time. And they were starting to get really heated up during the last year's pumps and stuff. And then because all the exchanges were unable to scale at that time to keep up, so they ended up shutting off the Litecoin markets so that they could continue to handle the traffic that was going to their Bitcoin markets. And now they're bringing back the LTC markets, and I'm a happy man.
Yep, I'm happy about it as well. It's kind of been an interesting ride for a lot of the coins that fall into that category of needing a Litecoin base market. A lot of them aren't newer coins.
Yeah.
And they've been on Cryptopia for a while, and Litecoin markets had no volume, then they had some volume, then they had too much volume for it to handle. And then while those were all delisted, I think they listed every single one on Satoshi markets that they didn't have prior.
Right, but it's fun. So if you're not aware, the main reason to have a coin that's traded against Litecoin is because there's so many of them, or the market cap is so low that one Satoshi is too high of a value.
Right.
So you have to trade it against Litecoin because then you can go, Litecoin's 50 times cheaper, so the value of each one could be 50 times lower for one Litoshi. And also a lot of the coins that we see on the Litecoin markets are ones with super high supplies. And I think it's because they all came out after Dogecoin, and Dogecoin did this at the high supply first.
Right.
And they're like, all right, well
maybe not.
We're going to do 10 times higher.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah, exactly. I know what you're saying.
But I like it.
So it'll be cool to see how some of those markets start back up, I guess. They're going to clear all the trades that are existing and start it from scratch, so people should have a fair chance to start buying and selling things for Litoshis.
Alrighty, yep, that's Cryptopia. They're bringing back those Litecoin markets. Other news this week, we got a security vulnerability at Coinbase. Was this that Ethereum? The Ethereum thing?
Yep, this was the Ethereum one. I thought this was interesting because it was actually first brought. There's a website called HackerOne that it was reported on, and you can kind of see the history of the report and how it went. So it was reported like on December 27th, which is about 3 months ago, and was just resolved 5 days ago. So I guess the fascinating part is that that's actually kind of a long time for this type of vulnerability to be out there, and nobody to have taken massive advantage of it that we are aware of. The vulnerability itself essentially would allow somebody to send Ethereum to their Coinbase and have it credited even if the underlying contract execution had failed.
So they could cancel the transaction or invalidate it somehow, and then they would still get credited.
Yeah, I don't know technically what steps you would have taken to take advantage of the exploit, but the basics of it are what you said there.
It's pretty impressive how many of these smart contract exploits, I guess, are still out there.
Yeah, it is.
But, it's part of the game. It seems like, they probably didn't mention what the extent of the damage was, right? They're just kind of like, this happened.
They don't ever say a number or anything. I think what I remember seeing them say was that all of the effects were incidental, and it didn't appear to them that anybody had taken specific advantage of it. That was the way they put it.
Well, that's pretty fortunate.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the kind of thing that will happen, I guess, with smart contracts. It's going to keep happening. Eventually, they'll get better. They'll get better bit by bit over time. But
yeah.
What else we got? We got a Monero fork this week.
Yep, that's been coming up.
It's really hard to find information on this. I don't know if you've tried to I couldn't find the date or anything.
Well, yeah, I think part of that is because Monero does scheduled updates.
Right.
So this actually falls into their scheduled update period. This update itself is to be expected, but I think
they have a maintenance window.
Yeah, but the part with the algo change, I think, was unexpected, which made people's interest sort of peak up and feel like the update itself was unexpected. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
So it has something to do with that, with the way that the information isn't super well disseminated.
Well, what's going down is that the Monero crew is not happy that Bitmain released an ASIC that will mine their CryptoNight algorithm, so they're going to hard fork to change it. They're going to CryptoNight v7, so it's probably just a tweak of the original.
Some type of little change, yeah. Be interesting to know if it's enough to actually stop the ASICs. I assume it is, right? You would assume that's the reason that they would have changed it in whatever way they did, right?
I assume it'll break these ASICs. The question is, will they be able to adapt to it and just release another one? And then that's kind of a funny thought, because then they could just keep changing the algorithm, and you get into a weird arms race of
it's the butter battle book.
how many hard forks is the community going to tolerate before the whole thing just goes to hell?
Definitely interesting.
This is going to be sweet. I'm really curious to see what happens to CryptoNight hash, because there's still a billion Monero clones out there that are going to be on CryptoNight. A lot of them are going to fork. A lot of the big Monero forks are going to fork to use the new algorithm. But I have to imagine some won't. So I'm curious to know.
There's got to be. Wouldn't there be
is the price going to drop to zero? Because
yeah, it's interesting.
It'll be interesting.
I would think there would be a spot for some brave Monero fork to embrace the ASICs in some way.
You're talking a bit of Monero Classic.
No.
Monero Cash.
Well, I don't know. There's so many of those forks out there.
Right.
All it takes is one of them to not follow the algo change.
Right.
And then these ASICs are usable on that chain, and it's got a massive hash rate if people use them on there for some reason.
Plus, we've seen historically it's like a Field of Dreams situation. If they build the ASICs, people will just make coins for the algorithm. So I'm
we
curious,
definitely have seen that. People just make coins to mine until their hash is all used up.
Yeah, well, somebody will get a farm of these things, and they're like, all right, let's develop some coins. We got to ROI this.
Maybe try out a couple technologies in the process.
It happens. Yeah, so that's interesting stuff. I think this is the first time that anyone's ever actually tried to subvert a Bitmain ASIC this directly, right? That I can think of.
Probably. I know that there was. I know that was it the SIA or the Decred one that had a similar issue? I can't quite remember anymore.
I think it was SIA. They announced an ASIC, and then Bitmain just like beat them to the market with one. They're like, oh, yeah, right.
And they had talked about maybe doing a switch, but I don't think they decided to.
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, they did not.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's up.
That's the upcoming Monero fork. And then another kind of fun piece of news here to round it out. We'll talk a little bit about Decentraland real estate prices.
Some of these Decentraland lots, somebody built like a browser or something, right? So you can look at the retarded or the absurd prices that people are asking for these.
Yeah, exactly. You can view Decentraland on a grid basis, and the marketplace allows you to see which squares or parcels are for sale and how much they're for sale for in Mana, which is the Decentraland currency.
And the funny part is it's comparable to like the real estate prices in a big city like New York or San Francisco.
Right. Yep. And of course, there's no reason that anyone would ever pay these prices because it's just somebody asking it, to be honest. But for example, one of the most expensive ones is over 8 million mana just for this small little piece of land, virtual land. So that's kind of funny to think about. It's a little bit like those crypto kitties that were popular in a certain way. Like it's in the sense that it's an example of a virtual commodity that's stored on the blockchain that gets traded around. These ones have an interesting potential where you could build something on it in the future, but Decentraland hasn't grown to the point where you can visit your property quite yet.
You can buy it.
Yeah.
Can't visit it. All right. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, so don't get caught up in a virtual real estate bubble.
Or do, you know.
Or do if you want.
I don't know. Okay. That's going to round out the news this week. Next, we're going to check out the markets.
Check out a little bit of that.
Markets.
Those market numbers and news.
So what's up this week? It's actually pretty funny. The turning point for Bitcoin was like exactly when we were doing the show last week.
Pretty close to that 3 p.m.
So if you measure the 7-day change from like the hour we started the show to the hour we ended it, it's like a huge difference. It's a difference between like 5 and 13% or something.
Yeah, so it was screwing up our statistics.
But anyway,
so we had to adjust our numbers a little bit so that we weren't looking at an exact week.
The exact like wick.
Yeah.
Okay. The question this week is the pumps are back. You know, Storm. We got Storm did $1 billion.
Yeah, we had some blowing up. Big coins on Binance blowing up. Storm went huge. DNT went up a lot. So some signs of life, at the very least.
It's a little different than what we've been used to for the past, I don't know, couple months at least. So what do we got here this week? So when we did the snapshot, Bitcoin was 7,600. That was a week ago.
Okay.
We got 8,665 right now.
All right,
on
so
CoinMarketCap.
Up by about $1,000.
That was like an hour ago, actually. But
that's a solid week for Bitcoin.
That is a real good week.
Back in the day, we used to think $1,000 up would be just insane, right?
Right.
There was a period of time.
But then we started getting the $1,000 daily candles. You get spoiled.
Yep.
You get greedy.
Yep.
That's 13% for the week on Bitcoin. As far as Ethereum's actually still up 5% for the week on this weekly snapshot too, even though Ethereum got beat up pretty good this week.
Definitely wasn't holding its own against Bitcoin very well.
It kind of started. It started to bounce out of Bitcoin. They got some FUD about something, or maybe it's legit bad news. I don't know. But
Vitalik looked at somebody wrong, or whatever people are into.
Could be anything. Could be anything with Ethereum. It's one of the best things, you know. But yeah, Ethereum, not as doing as good as Bitcoin. It's only up about 5%.
Out of the top 200 coins on CoinMarketCap, 195 of them are actually up versus USD, getting dragged up by Bitcoin most likely.
It's pretty sweet.
But actually 162 of them are also up against Bitcoin. So they're standing on their own a little bit as well.
That's pretty unusual for Bitcoin to bounce 13% and then for alts to go over and beyond that. So I definitely think at the very least this is kind of like, you know, it's either a dead cat bounce where alts have just been getting beaten up so hard that Bitcoin hits and we finally get a bounce. Or obviously it could be maybe it's alts are back, you know.
Yeah. There's this I mean, things are so accelerated, as you know, they just seem to always be accelerating, but especially with these big coins that are traded only against Bitcoin. They don't have significant USD markets.
Right.
And people, for some reason, are really stuck on watching the USD price anyway. So it's like they see the USD price going down and they sell it against Bitcoin while Bitcoin's dropping. And, you know, we get that acceleration downward.
Yeah. Yep.
The same thing seems to be happening on the way up. Like they're happy to buy, seem to be happy to buy altcoins with Bitcoin based on the USD value while Bitcoin is going up, thinking that maybe, I'm just speculating, maybe thinking that the coin itself is raising in value as they watch that USD value go up on CoinMarketCap.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting point. Interesting for me this week, my portfolio underperformed most of these alts this week. And I'm realizing, looking at some of the charts here, that a lot of the big winners this week were like tokens and stuff. It's a lot of big caps, a lot of high cap stuff that moved.
Right. Yep. Most of these coins you either had to be holding for a little bit or buy in right at the right time for something like Storm, for example.
These alt numbers are pretty crazy, though. We're looking at the top 200 coins this time. They gained versus USD an average of 30% and an average of 15% versus Bitcoin. So it's definitely a nice bounce for alts.
It's a good week.
Wouldn't it be sweet if the entire time that we were not doing the show was just the whole length of the altcoin bear market?
Well, we missed the accelerated peak as well, though.
That's true. That's true. All right. Yeah, that's basically what's up with the markets. It's funny to me that we get this list of the biggest winners and losers. Storm's on there, obviously up like 178%. But DNT, which is another one of the ones that had this huge pump, didn't even show up. And I realize it's because even though DNT is this huge cap, it's not even in the top. It wasn't even in the top 200.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because those numbers, that take so much to get into the top 200 coins, essentially.
Yeah, the market caps are just huge. All right. Yeah, that's the markets.
So, yeah, volatility all around, and in a certain way, business as usual, I would say. But
it does feel a little more normal than the past couple weeks before. But, you know, Bitcoin's choking a bit again, too, as it likes to do.
Right. Bitcoin can definitely push around a lot of these numbers.
Alrighty, here we go. Next up, we're going to do the trivia question.
Yeah, trivia question. Some people know how it works, but for those who don't, we'll explain it briefly. We'll ask a question, and then the first person to reply at Chain Dynamics publicly on Twitter with the answer wins. And then we'll send you 1,000 Arionum. We'll get your address through direct message, basically.
Yep, exactly. So just tweet the answer to the question to the at Chain Dynamics Twitter. You can get 1,000 of those Arionum. Here we go. The question: what was the original name of the coin PivX?
Kind of a softball for you guys.
We're got to start it off easy. Originally, it was PivX. Before it was something else. What was it? We'll take the ticker or the name. Let's
sure.
want both.
No, I'll take either one.
Either's fine.
So yeah, you'll tweet at the answer, and we'll keep an eye on the Twitter account while we continue the show and see if somebody gets it right.
We're going to keep the rolling jackpot deal going, so if nobody gets it by the time we're done with the live broadcast, then we'll just carry nobody will get it, and then we'll roll the prize into next week's.
That's right. Cool.
All right, here we go.
So now we're going to look at just some coin projects.
Coin projects. We're just going to take a look at a project this week. Next week, we're going to do... There's a lot of these coins coming out, like Ethereum clones, but they're trying to do masternodes.
Yeah, we're curious if any of them have actually implemented masternodes, or if it's just kind of a dream, or what.
Is it just like a smart contract that is kind of like the masternode? Are they actually doing anything? That's what we're going to try and find out. So that'll be like Pearl, Achroma, Strurina, maybe Denarius.
That's right.
But this week, we're going to take a look at a coin called Hadron.
Let me just interrupt you for 1 second, Brando, because we already got a trivia winner.
Woo!
Yep, so.
Nice. Congrats. Kudos to the winner.
And the answer, of course, to the original name of the coin PivX is Darknet.
That was DNet. Good old DNet.
Congratulations. Get a hold of you after the show.
Yep. Congratulations. So, yeah, the coin that we're going to look at this week is Hadron.
Yep.
Somebody gave this one a shout out. It's kind of an interesting project. This is one I first heard about it back in January. Kind of the idea of it is that they're going to use extra CPU power on any kind of device to solve computational tasks for people, like image processing or whatever your task.
Yeah,
may
it seemed
be.
like a lot of them had a focus on AI processing, right? Is that true?
Exactly. They're trying to do AI tasks.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what the mining would be, is that people are going to be solving these tasks, and they're going to get rewarded with the token, of course. So essentially, I'd say this falls into the category similar to Golem or Sunum. It's like a decentralized computing, basically.
But which network is this a token on then?
Ethereum.
Okay.
Yep. I actually thought it was its own blockchain before I started researching this segment, and then I found out that it is just another token, or it is a token. So then the question becomes, they do have some other computational layers. Is the app that's running on top of this, is it a smart contract type application, or is it an entirely separate kind of application that only interacts with the token?
Right.
Is it an independent blockchain that is just using Ethereum for the token?
Right. Like you had mentioned some type of proof of stake, which made me kind of think about, at one point we had looked at some type of Ethereum contract that tried to kind of emulate proof of stake. Kind of made me think of that for a second, but I don't know if that's related or if the mining itself is the proof of stake.
And I did look in the white paper, and it wasn't clear to me. They talk about the proof of stake system, like you said. The point of the stake system is to validate whether the people who are getting kind of paid to do these computations are doing them valid or doing correct computations.
Mm-hmm.
But again, what I couldn't see is, are they doing this on a blockchain type system? Is it running on an independent application, or is it running through a smart contract on Ethereum?
Okay.
What I was able to, so like I said, I did sign up for this in January, but I did not get, you had to like post your specs in Bitcoin Talk or something. I didn't actually get approved to mine for the alpha, but I did, fortunately, at least get the account opened up and was able to do that. I know that they have a beta opening up for their mining that will start in a couple of months, so it might be possible to start mining then. But as far as the coin itself, so it has the distributed mining setup. It's supposed to work on multiple devices. Obviously, right now the access is really gated, so you have to. They have this like social media contribution system that it's kind of difficult to understand, but the idea is that you'll get bumped in the line for tweeting and stuff.
Trying to get those real people, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Those real humans.
Yeah, exactly. So the question there for me is that supposed to be part of the main net, or is that just like a promotional thing for the alpha and the beta that I'm not totally sure about?
Right. Well, I know watching you go through that a little bit from the desk on the other side of the room, it felt like if that was part of the main net, it wouldn't really fly with a lot of the decentralization folks, right? Because you don't want to be going through a sign-up process to mine.
Right, and that's how it goes back to the questions I had earlier about whether I was actually interacting with a separate blockchain, a smart contract, or just like an app that somebody had built. So that's still the big question for me, I guess.
Yeah.
As far as using the product itself, we did. So I was able to fire up the client, and we were messing around a bit. They have 2 services that you can try and use right now, two AI services, just sample stuff, I guess, for their alpha or whatever. So one of them is that it's going to figure out if an image is safe for work.
Right. That's a little bit of an abstract concept anyway. Might have to do with where you work.
Yeah, what's your standards?
But anyway, we get the idea.
So we wanted to test it, right?
Yeah, we knew that was going to be fun to test.
So we got on Google. We found a picture of a sausage that looked fairly phallic.
Extremely phallic.
Yeah, above average. And so we're like, all right, is this gonna trigger it? And it's on. And it was like, this is probably safe.
Yeah, it told us that was probably safe, which was probably about as good as anybody could guess.
It was a good guess.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't want my boss to have seen it, but
yep.
We just did like a normal picture, just a couple of people looking at laptops, and it was like, yeah, that's probably safe.
Yeah, so it got the exact same rating.
The same rating. And then we threw a boob up there.
Yeah, we wanted to see maybe a picture of something we knew that wasn't safe, like a nipple would come back, and it said probably not safe. So that was a little bit encouraging that there was at least more than one response and there was a difference there.
Right, something's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's doing something. We also, and obviously if it's an alpha stage, you're not expecting the algorithm to be incredibly advanced. It also had a function to classify an image, so you'll just put in any image, and it will try to come up with descriptions for it. So it tossed a sunset, or actually it was like a picture of a mountain, actually.
Yeah, a little mountain lake.
And then it came back with sunset, dawn, evening.
That seemed appropriate. We liked it at the time.
It was close. They didn't mention the mountain, but it was kind of a dusk-like photo, so I'll give them that.
Mm-hmm.
We also tried a picture of a lawnmower. This is just a lawnmower, like on a white background. It's
Yeah,
pretty...
I was interested if it would get something that specific. I didn't know if it could. And no, it really couldn't. It said transportation system drive golf.
Right.
So
it's doing something, and that's interesting to me. So I guess as a kind of a blockchain enthusiast, really the question for me here is, it goes back to the original question we had. To what extent is any of this happening on a blockchain, and to what extent is it kind of happening on a server and being guided by that?
Right.
So what I would be curious to see, like, is there a block explorer or anything? I couldn't find like a block explorer to find.
Yeah, when these projects are in alpha, it's fun to start learning about them, but it's often hard to get real good information. And you ended up in a chat room for pretty much everything, right?
Yeah, Discords and Telegrams are big these days.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we ended up in there. And yeah, like I said, what I want is just kind of like a record of the transactions that I'm doing. Like, is that going to show up on EtherScan as part of a smart contract type situation? Is that going to show up on their system in terms of some kind of explorer that they've developed? I'm just curious about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, the details are important, and they're not quite there for us yet. But the coin we're talking about is Hadron.
Yeah, it's an interesting application, and it goes back to the big thing in crypto where the goal is to have the mining process do something useful instead of just hashing. That's a pretty common theme, and that's one of the things they're targeting here.
All the way back to like Prime Coin.
Right. And the question is the process going to be like open and enough to be useful and competitive with the other ones that are out there? But so far, obviously, they've put a lot of work into it, and the nice thing about it compared to most of these tokens is that I'm not aware of any ICO. Anyone can participate, and you can get coins through the alpha and beta process. So,
oh, nice.
As far as I'm concerned, that's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, and the potentiality of people quote. The fact that they're calling it mining is kind of funny because it's definitely not mining.
It's the loosest application of the term.
But for lack of a better term, the fact that people could mine on their phones or whatever would be really revolutionary too if somebody could get that to be more adopted. Yeah, and it's not be terrible for the phones.
The other great question for me on something that is supposed to have a distributed mining like this is how do they prevent somebody from virtualizing the environment and just like taking advantage of it, right? If one phone can mine for one identity, can somebody create one virtual identity and a virtual phone on an Amazon web server, clone it 18 bazillion times?
Yeah, or even have the physical phones. Have you ever seen those pictures of the giant click banks of phones?
Yeah, I have. Those are incredible.
Yeah.
Yep. Those robotic, just like hallways full of phones.
Yeah.
It is what it is. All cryptos are vulnerable to exploitation of the distribution mechanics.
It's one of the main things they have to overcome.
Yep. So yeah, interesting stuff. I was really, it's nice to work with Hadron, and I was glad to revisit this one because I'd kind of forgotten about it since I first tried to apply for the alpha.
Cool. So that's a little bit of a preview of the Hadron project.
Hadron. Cool. Next up, we are going to bounce into the new coins.
Just a little list of new coins this week.
We love those new coins.
We love new coins. We love ignoring new coins almost as much as we love talking about them.
Oh man, it's easier than ever to ignore new coins because there's so many. We winnow it down. We got a little bit tighter criteria than we used to. There actually was not very much this week, to be honest. I dug through quite a lot of Bitcoin Talk posts. So the bar is a little lower this week. Most of them aren't even really very good.
Right.
So let's start it off with EtherGem.
EtherGem.
EtherGem. EGEM. All right, is a stable, no pre-mine coin. So that's good. Can be good. Let's see.
So this is an Ethereum clone right off the bat with no pre-mine. Is that kind of the idea?
That is basically it. But I think it has a founder reward. So I don't. I don't think just to say that there's no incentive would be inaccurate. I want to confirm that in there. I remember there being one. I don't see it in the thread right now. Maybe I'm wrong.
Not a super interesting...
Oh, yeah, there is a dev reward. Okay. There's a tapering off developer reward.
Gotcha. I don't find this like mining schedule super interesting in any way or anything like that. I feel like I've been waiting for the black coin of Ethereum in a certain way.
Oh, nice. Something that... Right. That's a great point. So we're seeing all these long proof-of-work coins come out that are modeled after like Ethereum and Monero. So who's going to break through and create the ultimate, or even Zcash, the ultimate clone of one of these that crams the POW into proof of work into 1 week? and gets everybody fired up.
Right.
It's a good question. I wonder if anyone's done that already. I don't think there's a true Ethereum proof of stake out there. I could be wrong. There might be like some smart contract based ones, but I don't know if there's any ones that actually are validating the chain right now. I could be wrong on that, but
Well, they're probably going to wait for Ethereum to do it, and then
they'll
they can clone it.
Yeah, exactly. Let Vitalik do it, and then they'll just copy it. Why not? As far as EtherGem, yeah, it's pretty generic stuff here.
It doesn't look like they have much planned beyond the clone at this point.
Right. I thought that I saw a gimmick in here somewhere. Okay, so what's supposed to distinguish it? They're saying an applied technologies peer net is where the EtherGem blockchain grows on a mineable token sidechain. That kind of sounds just gibberishy to me. But who knows? So yeah, that's EtherGem.
That's a new coin out there.
It's out there. They made it.
Another one out there is Litecoin Extreme.
Litecoin Extreme. We need an electric guitar drop for this segment. Okay, this coin's really bad, actually. It's like a wallet. Looks like a wallet builder's. Or just a cheap copy, but I like that they used the Extreme moniker. I want to see more
Script
people doing
algo.
that.
You got to be pretty hopeful to start a script coin at this point, to be honest.
There's quite a few script coins coming out lately.
Really?
Yep.
And I feel like maybe people are looking for stuff to mine.
I'm trying to think of the cream of the crop. Achilles, maybe. I wonder what else is out there on script. Anyway, Litecoin Extreme. Oh yeah,
Nothing special there, really.
Nothing special. I just want more coins to start calling themselves Extreme.
They're not even based. That's not like even a copy of a successful coin. That's just
Right, exactly. It's a copy of a marketing thing from
Worked for energy drinks.
Early 2000s.
Worked for energy drinks. All right. Up next, Ramen Coin.
We got Ramen Coin.
As everyone knows, you're either eating ramen or an all-meat diet if you're on crypto, apparently. So
Yeah, there's 2 crypto diets. All ramen.
no, I see you soup guys out there,
Or
actually.
all meat.
But
I wanted to like this coin, but it's I don't actually like it.
realistically, this is just kind of a goofy coin with the word ramen in it.
It's a big airdrop, but like
Oh, this
so
isn't
many-
even a coin. This is an ERC20 token.
Yeah, it's just one of these big airdrops. And like all of these airdrops, it's like we're doing a huge airdrop. We're giving away 45% of the coins. But it's like it's a Ether token, so that means they still have 55% of the coin. Whatever.
Just
Ramen
by
coin.
1%.
So yeah, could have been funny, but I don't know about the implementation on Ramen Coin. Last up on the roundup of new coins this week is Hydra.
Hydra coin.
Extra. XDRA for the ticker.
A little
Extreme.
bit more rare algo. Skein.
Yeah, that's really the distinguishing thing about this. It's not even a new algo, but it's one you don't see very much. The other thing that's interesting about this is that a lot of the miners got rented up right away, which either means that there's just very small pool of hash, or somebody wants it. The thing about the checklist on this is it's pretty generic. It's like, welcome to Hydra. We got zero cash protocol. We got smart contracts. We got master nodes.
You mean by all the hash getting bought up? You mean like on Nice Hash or something like that?
I think it might only have even been on mining rig rentals.
Mining rig rentals.
Yeah.
Do other rigs start switching over to that algo at that point, or what do you see happening?
Yeah, NiceHash has like an auto switcher. So if it's on NiceHash and it's compatible with their auto switching thing, eventually that will just automatically bring more miners into the algorithm. But if it's something that is not on NiceHash or it's on another service, then it just kind of has to wait for people to notice that the prices are inflated and switch their rigs over.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that people have bots that will do it. So the bot people are probably the first, and then other people will notice. But yeah, Hydra's out there. They started it with Skein. Again, the features list on this is really, it's like every single crypto feature that you could have, right? It's all of them. Zero cash, smart contracts, master nodes, and PowPass.
Shotgun approach.
So yeah, they've got Blackcoin, Dash, Ethereum, and Zcash. All of the features of all of those things, and they're launching it just for you on Bitcoin Talk. There is a pre-mine on this one. I wonder how big's the pre-mine. They say it's 0.3%, but it's about 3,000 blocks, 3,000 to 5,000 blocks.
Any idea?
That's smaller on the range of pre-mines, but
like time range wise, are we at 60-second blocks on this one or something?
Yes. Yep.
So that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's
Not the best on that.
compared to some of the launches we've seen in the last couple of weeks. It's not the best. It's probably the best of the ones this week.
That is Hydra.
That's Hydra. It's a skein algorithm coin. No guarantees on new coins, of course. That's pretty much it for the new coins. Wasn't too much to look through this week.
Nope, just a nice little list of some funny, and potential coins.
Yep. Alrighty, we're going to look at next is we're going to take a glance at CoinMarketCap's new additions.
Yeah, kind of just been checking out what's been getting added to CoinMarketCap.
You're probably thinking to yourself, what's been added to CoinMarketCap this week? Obviously, Dragon coins, which must be different than Dragon Chain.
Right. Yeah.
The Banyan Network.
There's so many interesting coins that we would never ever hear about getting added to it.
Legolas Exchange. I don't know, man. I just don't know. The funny thing about like anything that's high value, I need to get in the Binance scene or something because I don't.
Binance
know.
has been a pretty nice platform.
And I'm not on Binance. I do not know what any of this stuff is. I'm not going to lie.
Come on over, check it out.
Mithril, Peculium.
Granted, I have no idea what they're listing, but
what any of it means.
And not a single one of these coins do I have anything interesting to say about.
AML token. So yeah, that's about what CoinMarketCap looks like these days. Bitcoin Green.
It looks like getting added to Binance is
It's
a nice
deal.
thing for your coin these days. That's
Yeah.
all I can tell from all these numbers up here.
Yeah, that's the new thing. It's pretty clear. All right, well, good for them.
Cool.
Kudos to you, random ass tokens that I don't know anything about. Congratulations.
May we know more about you someday.
Yeah, someday I will learn what's happening on Binance.
I think kind of getting to the end of the show, we've been trying to throw in a little bit of a little fun section talking about some other things we've been up to this week. This week for me, I played the new game Sea of Thieves, little pirating game. There was some launch day pains in there for sure, but I'm used to that, you know. I've been around the block with game launches.
I played a little Sea of Thieves as well. I mostly explored the drinking mechanic, the grog.
You were really good at that part.
Yeah, exactly. You want to weaponize the grog. Just throw up on people to blind them.
The funnest part for me was finding a bottle with a message in it and then that leading me on the quest rather than having to get the quest from the people that give them out.
A hidden quest instead of like the obvious ones. Nice. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Also this week, just mostly been chilling, doing a little bit of that yard work. You know how that is.
Yep, got to keep it fresh.
Getting a little nicer out there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We like to do coin birthdays, but we don't have any coin birthdays for y'all this week.
Nope. No birthdays this week.
We're hoping to expand our birthday list with get like an index of block explorers going or something so we can really keep track of more of them.
Yep, and we might need your help with that, so we'll let you know when we get to that point.
That's true.
But for this week, I think that does it for the Blockchain Dynamics show.
Yeah, we want to give a big shout out to Cryptopia again. Thanks for throwing us those arrow to give away. Check out he has a couple of services on Twitter that are interesting. He's got this altcoin notify Twitter @altcoin notify.
Yep.
And it will tell you when coins get added to exchanges. It's really useful. He also has one called Shitcoin Notify, which is for smaller exchanges.
Definitely worth checking both of those services out.
And congratulations to the Arionum winner. Congratulations to you.
Yeah, we'll get at you for your address just after the show here.
Yeah, that's going to do it. Check out our website, blockchaindynamics.net. We hope the YouTube thing worked out well.
That's right, and this was episode number 87. It's always Error by Trial Radio, and we will see you next week with way heavier bags.
Peace.
Currency.
Like a couple Bitcoins.
Money,
Pull up on my Nakamoto.